welcome to your wedding series. Oh my goodness. As you can see, we are in a little bit of a different setup this morning. It is morning for me, and it is the first day of the year. So happy New Year to everybody who is watching this live. Welcome to your wedding series by your wedding content creator. For short, your content creator. I wear many hats, as many of you know that have been following my journey here on the platform on YouTube. And so we are going to be diving right into this series. Now, this series is entitled Planning Your Wedding from the Beginning Before You Even Proposed. Whoa, I know, that's that is a mouthful, but basically it is your wedding series. It is a time for you to get to plan out your wedding from the beginning. So many people, when they think about planning out their wedding, they think about starting somewhere at the point of being engaged, right? That's usually like their starting point. And so we are going to be starting before you even get engaged. So what is that going to look like? Well, first of all, what is a wedding series? Some people who are getting married, they may not even have a clue what a wedding series is and what that involves. So a wedding series is a journey. It's a time to tell your story. It's a time to start, as most people do, with the engagement, with the proposal, and then there's a slew of events that happen right after you're engaged that you can do or you don't have to do. Like, it's up to you. If you decide that, like, it's not for you to have all of these events, you don't have to have all these events. So some of those events include an engagement party. Some people, on the day that they're proposed to, they already have everything set up for an engagement party. But then there are people who decide they're going to do their engagement party a little bit later. Then you have engagement photos. Now, when it comes to engagement photos, that's not for everybody. Some people get photos on the day that they are proposed to. And so then they don't need to take out the extra time to, on top of having that proposal, to then go and have like a separate engagement shoot, if you will. So it's not everybody to have all of the things. The next thing that you usually have after the engagement is the engagement party or in proposal is usually going to be sitting down and figuring out who do you want your bridesmaids to be, your bridal party team. And so once you get that together, now you have a bridesmaids proposal where you literally go to your bridesmaids and you are going to be asking them, will they be a part of your wedding party, which is super exciting. The groomsmen, you also ask them, and you do so in different ways, which we will discuss along in this wedding series. Now, after you have the bridesmaids proposal, a lot of times you will go ahead and start shopping for your wedding gown. I call it a wedding gown. Other people call it dress shopping. I like to call it wedding gown shopping. So I love the ball gown style, and you guys will get to hear more about that in later episodes. Now, after you have the wedding gown shopping, and these things can be in different orders, it's your wedding. This is just describing the wedding series itself. After that, you're going to go into things like bachelorette party, wedding shower, bridal shower, hen do. In other countries, they have a hen do, and we're going to talk a lot about the differences in having a bachelorette party and having a hen do. I think that if you are in America, you don't have to follow every tradition that America has like put out. I think it's okay to incorporate things from other countries, especially if you're from that country, like if you have ancestry through that country. Why not, right? So you have the bachelor party as well. You have sometimes a welcome party for guests who don't live in the same like city, state, or country as you. So you have like this welcome party thing. Not everybody does that. These are like stuff that, like I said, that every person checks off their checklist. Now, the next thing that you would have is going to be something like a rehearsal dinner with rehearsal. and getting to practice what it's like to walk down the aisle, meeting your groom, and everybody also being in order of the bridal party on that day, if you're going to have a bridal party, where the officiant is going to stand and things like that. And then from there, you're going to have the rehearsal dinner that night, if you so choose. And then after that, you will have the getting ready in the morning and all the fancy things that go along with the wedding, like especially the ceremony and then the reception. Like I said, not everybody has every single part of the wedding series. Not everybody wants every single part of the wedding series. But we are going to be talking about that in depth and how to plan it if you want to plan it in this way. It's going to give you some ideas. And that's why I am here as your content creator. I have been to, like, oh my gosh, a lot of weddings. I also watch a lot of movies because I love weddings so much. And I just feel like I want to share a lot of my advice, my tips, my tricks, my hacks. I also do DIYs. So I make my own everything. I am really amazing at that. I also planned my own wedding. So that gives you guys a little bit of a background about me. And I also work in events. Events are like my life. And so I started in Las Vegas in trade shows and festivals, and really big festivals like Our Heart Radio Music Festival, Life is Beautiful Music Festival, and things like that, as well as working with Coca-Cola as their regional manager for things like March Madness, and also working at the Super Bowl. So that's, I know, that's a lot. I've worked a lot of events, and when I say trade shows and conventions, I mean the bigger ones like CES, Consumer Electronics Show, SEMA car show, NAB, which is a broadcasting show. So putting on events are my thing, from anything from like private events. We had a lot of private event screenings in Las Vegas as well. And I've worked in Houston, Texas, San Francisco, California, as well as Los Angeles, California, and Hawaii. I was a Hawaiian Tropic model, and I actually got to travel to Hawaii and work there as well. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. And that's why I've decided to share a lot of my expertise about events and event planning with you as your content creator, and helping you to plan your wedding a little bit more cohesively and more affordable. That's why we're doing this wedding series. This is free to you. This is like literally, I mean, there goes, how can I say? The comparison of the price that you pay for a wedding planner, this is pretty much free. Okay, so you get to come along with me. You get to ask questions. Feel free to ask as many questions as you would like as we go about this series. I want this to be a place where you feel like, okay, I'm not understanding why you would want to do it this way, but can you explain to me how does that make sense? And so I'm here to break a lot of that down for you. Now let's talk about today's episode. This is our very first episode of your wedding series. And the reason why I say that we're going back to the beginning is because we're going back to 14-year-old you. That's right, 14 years old, you're a teenager. This is going to be how to plan your wedding before you even have a proposal. Before he proposes to you, before he asks you to marry him, and you see that beautiful ring that you'll be wearing for the rest of your life. Hopefully you only have one time to get married, and so for the rest of your life, you will have that ring. And so we're going to be talking about what it's like to prepare for that wedding prior to the wedding day, prior to you having the engagement, okay? Prior to him proposing, prior to you even knowing him. You may not even know him at 14 years old. Most people don't marry their 14-year-old sweetheart that they met in high school. This would be the time that you're starting high school. You are a teenager, but you've been a teenager for about a year. And so that's why we're calling this the beginning. This is the real beginning. And like I said, most people aren't preparing for marriage prior to being proposed to. And it would be nice. It would be nice if people realized how important it is to start preparing early. And I don't mean the bride that has the big notebook and she's been designing her dress in her head since she was 2. That's not what we're talking about in this wedding series, although there will be elements of that as we go along and we fast forward to you becoming engaged, right? So we will be fast forwarding to that. But this is more talking about how to plan your wedding from scratch, and a lot of things come along with that. And from the beginning, you need to understand that there's more to marriage than just the day of the wedding, than just your dream coming true, right? There's other elements, like when you're 14 years old, there's elements of how to become a wife, a helpmate, a mother. You know, these are things that, and sometimes even a business partner, if you guys decide to start a business together. So these are things that we're going to like flush out and talk about in detail. And as the groom, you're going to be learning what it's like to become a husband. I know you're 14 years old and you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about playing video games and hanging out with your friends and eating Cheetos in the basement. But we're going to be talking about like how we're preparing for marriage before we even get to that part in our life. Okay. So you're going to be learning how to become a husband, how to become a like head of the household. Okay. A life partner, doing life with your honey. Okay. So it's, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you guys. Like, this series is just going to be so amazing. And it's a year-long series. It's a whole year because we're going to be talking about finances, home mortgage, how to save and prepare for that at 14 years old. Okay. And then fast forwarding on to that day of, you know, having that beautiful wedding and all that good stuff. So we will be discussing, you know, things like that, like how to budget for your mortgage, how to budget for insurance. A lot of people don't even have insurance. They don't think about the fact that you should have insurance well before you even get married. Okay. So we're going to be talking about car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, personal insurance, health insurance, all the insurances that we need to have. And like, that's not, none of those insurances are cheap or inexpensive, right? So we're going to be talking about that and how that's preparing us for going into marriage. We also are going to be discussing, like, you know, car and car maintenance and who takes care of that and who's responsible for all that good stuff, who's responsible for taking care of the home, who's responsible for taking care of the kids. You'd be surprised. People think it's one thing, but we're going to discuss how it's actually something else. I know that this series, in talking about it for an entire year, is going to seem so long, but it's a good idea to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere, because I know that we all love love, but do we know what love is in action? It's charity. And so I know we hear the word charity thrown around a lot when it comes to giving money to this organization so that they can do blah, 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 right? But charity is actually love in action. Do you know what it means to love in action? Charity is patience. So we're going to talk about being patient. Charity is kind. And we're going to talk about charity in kindness. And charity is not keeping a record of right and wrong. So when your partner is doing something wrong and you're keeping a record of all of that. And so it's okay, I feel like, to go back and reminisce about all the good stuff. Like, my honey made me breakfast this morning. I'm so excited. I forgot to tell you, I'm also married. I've been, as of this video, January 1st. As of this time, I've been married for 6 years and 2 months. And so I am so excited to share a little bit about what it's been like for me to be married as well. And like, just all the things, you guys, all the beautiful things. So let's jump into our topic for today. You will see along here in the title, as well as you being able to ask questions along the way about the series and as well as the topic at hand. So today's topic at hand, we're talking about preparing for the wedding before he proposes. And we're talking about the father of the bride. Oh no, the father of the bride to be. Did you know that you were going to be part of the wedding series? Probably not. You probably had no idea. Let's have a sip of tea because I bet you did not know that you were going to be part of the wedding series. And most fathers wouldn't think that they would be. You know, let's have some tea. Oh, so good. You guys, side note, I did not realize that tea was just hot water and like herbs, like different herbs, for like the longest time of my life. I just knew that I liked tea and I didn't like coffee, but I didn't know the why. And so now I understand the why, which is like so cool. But I love hot water a lot. And so I just add my different like favorite herbs. And so today I'm doing turmeric and ginger. I wanted lemon, but we ran out of lemon. I couldn't find the lemon, so I'll have to get some more lemon. And then I just have some honey in there. I like to do the local honey, but when the season's over, it's harder to find it. So, I mean, I'm sure if I go to one of the health food stores, but I like whenever we go to like the outdoor like farmer setup thing, not the farmer's market here because it's a joke. It's like store. It's like people just selling like stuff that goes on your wall, like art and stuff. And it's like there's no fresh fruit or vegetables from the actual farmer. So like, why are we calling it farmer's market? But yeah. So I go to like this outdoor thing that they'll set up that's not there all year round, and they'll sell their local honey, and it's so nice. But like I said, if I don't remember to stock up in September, October, I'm in trouble for the winter season. I have to then just buy whatever's at the grocery store, which isn't as nice, obviously. And did you know that honey is medicinal? So it's really great for you during the season anyways. Yeah. So that was our nice little that was our nice little commercial break of me having some tea. I hope you have your tea too. But getting back into it, father of the bride, how are you preparing for the wedding before your little girl is proposed to? Now listen, I realize that not everybody has a father, and there are many reasons that people don't have a father. I know that I did not grow up with my father. So I don't have a relationship with him. So I know that there are people who don't have their fathers in their life. But I will say this. If you don't have your father in your life, these are the other men in your life that should be helping to prepare for your wedding before you're even proposed to. Your uncles. So it could be your father's brothers. It could be your mother's brothers. Okay. So any of your uncles that you may have. It could also be your grandfather on both mother and father's side. And it can also be your grandfather's brothers. So it could be, or your grandmother's brothers. Any of your granduncles, any of your uncles, any of your grandfathers can also step in and help your father, who may or may not be there. So that gives you some idea of who should be preparing for your wedding prior to. Now, I know that might come to a shock to a lot of people that these men are even involved in the wedding, because most of the time we just jump right into engagement, and then people are trying to figure out, like, what do we do? How do we start this? I have no idea, right? And that's what you hear. But the truth of the matter is, your wedding day started way prior to you ever being engaged. And so let's discuss. Why is your father are your uncles and grandfathers involved? Why would they be involved? Okay, if you said it's because they're should be the one paying for the wedding ceremony and the wedding reception, so the day of the wedding should be paid for by them, you would be correct. Ding, 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 for anybody that said that. Do I have my bell? Let's see if I have my bell. I do. So anybody that said that they are supposed to have them to pay for the wedding, at least the wedding reception and the wedding ceremony, you would be correct about this. So how is the father of the bride and uncles and grandfathers going to pay for the wedding, and you're only 14, you haven't been proposed to, right? What they're going to do is that when you turn 14 years old, they're going to start setting aside money so that when the day comes, it's not so overwhelming. It's not so exhausting. It's not so like, oh, I'm not paying all that. I'm not paying all that. I don't see why anybody would ever pay all that. Well, if you're saving from the time that person is 14 years old until the time that person is whatever age that they're going to be when they're getting married. Some people get married at 18. Some people wait to after college at 22. There are some people who are graduating college at 18 years old. So not everybody's like getting out of college at 22 years old. I've actually met some people recently that are literally, they are getting out of college at 18. So don't think that just because like in your time people were graduating at 22 that that's what it still is now, because that's not the case. So yeah, so basically you are going to make sure that you start saving money, just slowly putting away money that is going to help in facilitating in the financial, you know, deposits for this wedding, so that as far as the reception and the ceremony goes, they are taken care of. Now that's years of saving. That's years of saving. So you're going to have a separate bank account, and that separate bank account will include the monies for the actual wedding ceremony and the wedding reception. Now, I know that it seems pretty daunting. People are like, you know, things are just so expensive these days. Things are so expensive these days. And I understand that. But somehow we're all still here. Somehow we all are still surviving. And so I say, don't go without being able to provide for your daughter in this way. Now, if you have daughters, if you have more than one, you better definitely be reaching out to your brothers and your, you know, your uncles and your grandfather and all, you know, your dad and all this stuff to help you fathers. You know, if the father needs some assistance with putting all of this together financially, because let's be real, weddings are anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000. So let's just be real, you know, and to each person, that number is expensive. $3,000 could be very expensive to somebody. $30,000 could be like extremely expensive to somebody. But there are people who also, you say either one of those numbers and they're like, that's nothing. Like, you know, that's not a big deal to them. And they're like, why wouldn't I take care of my little girl on her special day? So, you know, to everybody, it's, you know, to each their own. It is, you know, up to you on how you guys decide on, you know, what's available. Now okay, now listen, since you're the one paying, I will tell you this. You could go and tell your daughter, listen, I'm only going to pay this amount. I'm only going to do this much. And if you want to pay for more, you can, but don't think that that's going to be on me. Okay. So, you know, you guys have that conversation once, as soon as she gets proposed to, the conversation gets talked about, or even before the proposal, when you are having that conversation with the young gentleman, which is something that definitely needs to happen, where they ask for the hand, and we will be talking about that as well. So yeah, but that's how this whole thing starts. I hope that if you guys have any questions on how the wedding should begin from step number 1 on what to do, this is only week 1. This has been episode 1 of your wedding series. I am your content creator, and remember that I provide affordable videography and affordable hacks, DIYs, trips, tips, hacks, all the good stuff, so that you will have what you need for your wedding. I also am an expert in travel, brands, products, user-generated content, which is UGC, for your commercials and social media commercials and things like that. And yeah, I love this stuff. I love it so, so much. And we are living in a content world. We're living in a content world, and everything is at our hands. Our cell phone is right there. We get to build content through the cell phone lens, which is in our hand all the time. And so that you remain hands-free, I'm the one that crafts all that content for you. And I like to tell everybody, lights, camera, action. Let's start the show. I am so happy to be here with you for your wedding series and helping you along with the planning. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our breath. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life. It's all in our hands.
Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram,